Hello, I am here today to talk to you about my fascial release and trigger point therapy tools that I have in my toolbox that I recommend a lot of my clients get for A, warm-up, B, they can use some of the tools for a workout, and 3, C, for cool down and for release, sore muscles, all of that to help you with that. It's a time right now where it's very hard to get into physio and it's very hard to get into massage therapy. So these things can help in the meantime if you are injured or you have really, really tight muscles and soreness. So tool number 1 is one of these little balls. They're a double ball, it's attached. And they're fantastic for A, you can lie on it just at the base of your spine, and it'll help with any kind of headaches that you might have. You can roll it up and down on either side of the spine very, very carefully, and you can get some release that way. Then it's also very, very good for the feet. So you might be watching TV at night. You can put your foot on top of it and roll that foot forward and backward on it. So if you suffer from plantar fasciitis, or you suffer from tight Achilles, or just have sore feet, this is a fantastic way to get the blood circulating right back into your feet. Then I have this little ball. It is an unbound baseball. It is one of my favorite tools to use also for trigger point therapy. So I will put this against a door and put this on the spot in my back, and I will roll up and down that doorway to get the release in those areas. So sometimes very tight muscles up in my scapular area in the back, and then up towards this area here. Either one of these work fantastically for that. So you could do that 2 or 3 times a day, every time that you get really, really sore or you feel a pinch. And sometimes I have one from this point here, from an old injury, that goes all the way, and that's where it starts, is just behind the shoulder blade, and it goes all the way up into the neck, and it can cause some headaches. So either one of these work fantastic for that. Next, I'm going to talk about the trigger point therapy roller. This one also comes in the small size, but it also comes about this high. And this one is fantastic for warming up the quads, releasing the quads after workout, post workout. You can roll on this on the floor, which I'll demonstrate after I talk about this last one as well. I'll be giving you a few demonstrations on what to use this guy for ART, trigger point therapy. ART is active release therapy. So that is better with these, because if you sit there long enough on the spot with the balls, you will get some release and some relief. So R&R. And this big one I love for it's a great little workout tool, but it's also fantastic to drape your body over. So whether you're rolling it along your back or you're on the entire surface from your head to your tailbone, you can do some workout with it, but you can also get some release from it. So I will go over that with you as well. So if you want to invest in these tools, you can find them online, or you can find them in your local fitness store. I know sometimes you might have to wait for a while because things are really, really sold out right now, in high demand, because everybody is building their home gym equipment arsenal. So these are in my toolbox at home. So I will demonstrate with the larger foam roller what I do. So one of the exercises that I absolutely love to do, and I'll start like this, is I put the foam roller under my calves, and I take my hands, and you can come up onto your fists or use anything. If you have bad wrists, you can use something that will help support them. So I'm going to come onto my hands like this and roll back and forward. So what this does, it works my triceps, it works my abdominals, it works my glutes, and I'm rolling back and forward, and I'm getting a release in my calves. So this one here, because it is a foam roller, it's a very dense foam roller, this one. This one I don't feel on my calves that much, but it is causing a bit of a release. So I'm pointing my toes out, and then I can point them in. So now I'm getting all the different areas of my calves. So gastrocnemius, down the center, out to the sides, and in. So I'll do that a few times before my workout or after my workout to release the calves. And I'm still getting a bit of an upper body workout. The other thing I like to do with this one, not with this one so much because it's a little too intense, is I put my legs on my shins. So I'm going to get a little bit of a tibialis release. Those are the muscles that run along the front of your legs. It is a little bit uncomfortable on my shins, so I don't do a lot of them, but I'll roll out and back. So this one can also be done from your elbows. So here I'm planking, but I'm getting a little bit of a workout on my core. And I'll go side to side so I can get the tibialis, like a little bit of calf on the other leg, tibialis, and a little bit of calf on the other leg. So I'll do that several times, and that feels fantastic. Oh yeah, the other little killer ab workout that I do with this one is I will have my hands under my shoulders. They will remain there. I will go into a plank, and I will roll in and back out. In and back out. So here I'm working my abdominals now and my core, of course, because you're in the plank. So that's working out with this one. I also have an abdominal exercise, but first I'm going to show you a release on the back with the big one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this just under my rib cage. So you don't want to roll. I'm not going to roll. Some people do roll further down, but I have a spine that's quite bony, and this is really not very comfortable on the spine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on my upper back. I'm going to take my arms up. I'm going to come into a bridge, and I'm going to roll. And I'm going to play with it a little bit. So I've got my arms out to the side. I'm supporting my head, and I'm rolling through the upper back. And crack, crack, crack sometimes. Some of my clients really feel a release through this. They get the crack, crack, crack all the way down and up the spine. I love the release on my lats, so my upper back muscles. So, and yes, you are working your hamstrings and your glutes a little bit. And then, to really work your hamstrings and your glutes, you can put this on your feet. So here's part of the workout, right? So I'm putting my feet up, I'm in a bridge, I've got my pelvic tilt, my core is nice and tight, my neck gets a nice little release here because I'm on my shoulders and my neck is getting that stretch. I'm going to go down and up, roll it a slight way out and in, down, up, roll out and in. So if you do this 15 times, 2 or 3 sets, you're going to really feel your hamstrings and your glutes working big time. So that's one. Another workout that feels really good on the calves is I'll have my hands behind me like this, out and in. Out, back in. And I think I've already shown you guys that, but it's a fantastic one. So now we'll get to the release of the chest. And this is why I love this big blue guy so much, is that I will sit on the end of it I will put my head on the entire, so I've got my tailbone on, I have my head on, I have my arms up, and then for release, I'm going to open up the arms, and I'm going to allow those arms to open up. Release my chest muscles, release my anterior deltoids, which is the front of the shoulders, and I'm just going to open that up. So if you're at a computer all the time, a computer screen, your forward shoulders, if you're a cyclist and then you go to work and your forward shoulder, your shoulders will eventually start to do that, and then you've got this forward shoulder syndrome. You want to be able to several times a day open up. So one of my clients actually has one of these in his office where he works. So a couple of times a day or at lunchtime, he might get up, lie down, and open up and release those chest muscles. Super important. I can't stress it enough. Okay, so then here's the workout portion of this. It's an abdominal thing. I'm going to come on down. I'm going to put my hands on the ground. My elbows are on the ground. My legs are up in tabletop. I've braced my core. So I call it embracing your core. You're giving your whole spinal column a hug with your entire body. So take that little cough, and now you've got that braced. Now you have to breathe as well. You're going to let that leg down, pull it back up. Other leg, pull it back up. So this is a core engagement exercise. You're not to have your back arch. Your tummy doesn't pop out. So you just keep that super, super tight the whole time. I like to breathe out on the exertion because that makes sure that I keep this tight. So to make it harder, you can go longer. I'm clearing my cabinet, kind of, not really. So you keep your straight leg, so that makes it harder. To make it harder even yet, you come onto your fingertips and you do it with your fingertips. It's quite a challenge. It looks easy, but it really is quite a challenge. So then you can roll your glutes with this one. You can also roll your quads with this one. I find, however, that the trigger point is a little bit more uncomfortable, but as uncomfortable as it is, it's a little bit more effective at releasing the muscles and the fascia. So on the quads, I will come onto my elbows and I will roll. And roll the quads. So I'm going to turn slightly to one side and slightly to one side, and I'm getting really, really deep into those tissues. Rolling it further down. You don't want to roll over your kneecaps, but you want to get the muscle that is just above the kneecap. So sometimes having leg pain, knee pain, is what I meant to say. Sometimes when you have knee pain, it's coming from having too tight a muscle in the quad. ITB band can be tight quads, can be tight glutes, can be a lot of different things. So rolling can help relief a lot. So here I'm rolling my glutes. Again, a lot more painful with this guy, but you can use either one. So if you can't afford both, or you can't find one of those trigger point, then I would recommend getting a big one. But get one that's quite dense, because the softer ones, the ones that are not as dense, tend to lose their effectiveness, like they get too soft. So rolling back and forward on the glutes. You can come down, and there's a spot. It's kind of between your hip bone and the beginning of your glute on the back. There's a spot called the Tensor Fasciae Latae, the TFL. Gets tight on a lot of people. So you kind of have to wiggle around to find it. And if it's right there, I've got it. It's sort of right in my hip bones here. I've gone from my glute to my hip bone, but not on the hip bone. Whoa! And that will help release that TFL immensely. And you just learn to relax into it. You just feel the pain and do it anyways. Intense pain, of course, is no good, but if it's, an 8 out of 10, it'll start to slowly release. And I promise, if you do the myofascial release as a warm-up, using the foam roller as a warm-up to warm up the muscle groups, that's fantastic. And then afterwards, to release the muscle, you won't have that DOMS, that delayed onset muscle soreness. It'll help so much, I promise you. So those are the things that I absolutely have to have in my little toolbox at home. And as we age, like I said, as we age, we have a tendency to roll forward, and we don't want that. So we need to have the release of all those muscles that are pulling us forward and be able to open up, as well as releasing the muscles in our legs, in our feet, full body. So think about those things as well as working out in those high intensity intervals. I hope that helps, and I hope you have a fantastic day.